Hello there, creatures, and welcome to another episode of Encounter This. I am Freeman Squid Hug Easton, and with me today is my cohort, the old James Fleshy Suit Kid.
Hello.
We will be finally talking about some specific playable creatures in this beautiful, dark, unholy Qlippoth suite.
3 episodes into this creature show.
We finally got to the creatures.
You're welcome.
Well, here we go. Yeah.
Hey there, creatures, and welcome to Encounter This, a podcast exploration of the creatures from Pathfinder 2nd Edition and the lore that surrounds them.
So let's start off with the smallest creature, the first in the array of them that you might face. It is known as the we've had to go out of our way to make sure we are typing this correctly and saying it correctly, because these words are fucking weird. They really fuck with your brain a bit. We're going to talk about the Cythnigot, also known as a Cythnigot. Yeah, think Sith, think Star Wars. Also known as a spore Qlippoth, depending on your resource material. Yeah, there's a fine artsy example of the creature we're talking about now.
So we should just, this is gonna get weird and gross, and these images are very unsettling. These creatures are very unsettling. So just a gentle content warning for parasitic possession.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, if you didn't get the vibe from the previous 3 episodes already, just assume it's going to continue. Going to continue in that direction.
Going to get worse
as hard as it can. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now this is not. This is a Cythnigot, but it's also not like quite the full thing. That's not the only Cythnigot, like that image. That's because the Cythnigot is a parasitic essence or creature or biology or I don't know, germ. It's basically
organism is the word you're looking for.
Organism. Thank you. That's the one. I continue to not know my words. Basically, so normally we would separate these. Hold on. What am I trying to say here? So the Cythnigot is a fungal parasite or an infestation of sorts. It grows in the corpses of small creatures, basically, and it wears them like a suit. So what we're seeing here is actually a rat that has been infested by a Cythnigot. And it makes adjustments and sort of, quote unquote, tailors the body that it infests to its needs. So the small creature ends up looking really quite alien, like a lot of other Qlippoth kind of creatures. So you can see this thing's got, like, it's clearly got the rat teeth. Ears are missing. It's got little mandibles going on out of that mouth too. And those legs in the back aren't really angled the right way, it looks like. And I think it's got an extra one. So it's hard to look at. It looks like
it's got 6 legs, and each one of them ends in like a raptor claw.
Hook. Yeah.
Claw,
but without the full foot, it's just literally a claw at the bottom. It seems to be like, balancing on all the feet.
Yeah, and it's covered in like spider webs or fungal things, and it's got this giant Venus flytrap looking thing, Audrey 2 coming out of its back.
That Venus flytrap thing is sort of the telltale physical feature, the trademark of the Cythnigot. So if you could imagine this creature, or say it's a cat, or say it's in a small dog, or some other creature that's like that, it would kind of transform its body in certain ways. But the one thing that would certainly be true regardless is the potential of this Venus flytrap coming out the top of the back. It's like a long stalk made of like fungal material, and it's not just like a flytrap. Those are powerful jaws, fungal jaws, and that sort of strange thing at the top. Yeah, yes, they are, as we learned. So yeah, that's literally the Cythnigot. That's all the information we really have here. These were of course featured in 1E, mostly the same. The one addition that I did come across, which I thought was kind of neat, is that some truly mad people will make a Cythnigot their familiar, but they will basically infect an existing familiar with the Cythnigot to transform it, which I thought was kind of cool.
Gross.
And gross, definitely, and gross.
Neat,
yeah.
And probably some variety of illegal. It feels like animal cruelty to intentionally
very unethical,
kill
certainly.
your familiar. Yeah,
yeah.
But it doesn't even feel like necromantic evil, you know? That just feels like a regular evil.
Yeah. It's not even homunculus evil, you know?
Yeah, right.
But yeah, that's the Cythnigot. It is the lowest tier creature, but not really any less evil, and it just serves a small purpose of destruction, as far as I know, to destroy the world of sin. So that's that creature.
Okay, yeah, and that brings us to a bit of and I mean a bit of mythology and folklore, and by mythology and folklore, I mean this thing really exists in our world.
Yeah. That's terrifying.
Yeah, so content warning, image warning, this is awful, and this is the best image I could find of this, but it fucking sucks. Like I will have nightmares for days after Googling this. Like, it was just fucking awful. But I knew it existed, so I had to find it. And that means you guys get to look at it. So again, content warning. This is a possessed real creature by a fungus. It's not awful, but it is an insect. So insect warning for those of us who have insect fears. I'm one of you. So here we go.
Good luck.
This is called the zombie ant fungus. Yeah, I mean, it's not awful. There are way worse images. Like the ant is decayed.
Yeah.
It's fine. You all can Google it at your own risk.
Yeah.
There is a Latin name. Ophiocordyceps unilaterus is my best shot at it. I'm not doing another take.
Wait, let me try. Ophiocordyceps unilateralis. Oh shit, that was hard.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Also known colloquially as the zombie ant fungus. It was first identified in 1859 by an Alfred Russel Wallace. So this is a fungus as well. Yeah, friend of the show. This is a white dude from the 1800s. Maybe let's not call him a friend. Just
okay, that's fair enough. Acquaintance of the
show. Frequent guest. So these are pretty simple beings. They're not malicious or evil beings from a time before time. These are just spores that will attach specifically to an ant's exoskeleton. They then break through said exoskeleton using a combination of enzymes and mechanical pressure. So they grow up, which puts downward pressure on the ant's body.
Okay.
They then release a yeast, which spreads through the ants using a phenotype to manipulate the behavior. So as far as I understand about ant biology, one of the ways they communicate is using phenotypes and scents. And this will use that to manipulate its host while it's being possessed to benefit the fungus, which usually manifests in having the ant climb to a very tall tree where it will hang upside down, be encased in the fungus, and then sprout what is essentially an upside down jungle mushroom out of the body of this ant, release more spores, and reproduce.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's real terrifying. Like, if this makes the jump to any other species, like we're fucking hooped. Like,
right? Like, it's one of the most fascinating things about mushrooms and fungus is that they are so different from the rest of organisms, basically, and they were so misunderstood in so many ways. And I was oddly reminded of what some people say there are theories of like giant fungus and mushrooms from the past, but some people refute that by saying, well, the thing is, fungus don't need to grow tall because they don't need light. That's the whole point of growing tall like a tree, is to capture more and more light. However, this it springs to mind just because you just said that this fungus actually wants to get to a height for its dissemination of its spores, which is a very, very interesting concept. It's very cool. And it is terrifying.
Yeah. And again, that's the chillest image I could find. It only goes downhill from there.
Yeah.
So just, be judicious before you click off safe search on stuff like this. Like, it's just it's real bad.
I'm Googling it right now so I can see, because I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid at all. It's pretty gnarly.
Yeah. Yeah. So it makes the ants hang from upside down on a tree branch so it can just shoot spores after it grows to its full gestation down on the on the forest floor, and repeat.
Rinse and repeat. Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Cool.
Which does sound quite a bit like the Qlippoth, in my opinion. Other than the presumed intelligence level, there's not a whole lot of difference. I mean, the Qlippoth possesses a rat in most artwork, but if this thing could possess a rat, it would. It's a fungus. It doesn't have conscious thought. As far as we know. I mean, there is that giant fungal growth, the largest organism that's ever existed. We're not really sure if that has consciousness or not, but not demonstrably.
Right. Definitely a widespread capability of communication, but consciousness, not sure. Yeah.
I mean, you can argue
really cool,
capable
really
of
gnarly.
communication.
Yeah. Fits right into the pocket. It's very clear where that inspiration came from, and it must have been that. Which very quickly brings
eagle-eyed
us
viewers will realize that this was a segment on the original Planet Earth, and that's how I knew this thing existed.
It's been a long time since I watched Planet Earth.
Yeah, the jungle
pretty cool.
episode of Planet Earth. If you want to hear David Attenborough tell you all about the horrifying mechanics of this thing, he's there doing it. Nobody better to make this less threatening.
Yeah, for real. That brings us to ye old mechanics in very quick fashion. What do you say we check that out? So we have decided going forward, we're going to take a little bit of a different approach to the old mechanics here. Mostly we're going to pare it down. Mostly we're going to focus on the things that matter the most, as opposed to giving you a rattle off list of every tiny number. We've made notes for ourselves of what stands out, not just by observing and like reading through the stat block, but through a new initiative that we've done, which is making sure that we have a chance to fight each one of these creatures ourselves, to have a better understanding of how they might function. And that, of course, is being very helpfully facilitated by our very good friend and member of Uncharted North, Cam, all up inside us, Terry, and what we've internally referred to as our Cambats. No better name. There's no better name. Yeah. So, and Cam can be a really brutal GM when they feel like it, which is lovely. But also was wonderful enough to pull some punches so that we have a full breadth or a reasonable breadth of idea of how these creatures work.
Yeah. So and a big shout out to our patrons, to Kale and Povo, for making two of the characters that we played. That's why their name is in the credits, is two of the characters Freeman and I ran for these combats were helpfully created by them.
Yeah. And so we ran this. What were the characters? I made myself a divine sorcerer for heals. And Tikale had made an obedience champion for me to play, which is really cool. What did you play?
I played an investigator, and Povo made me a stone-wise druid. I don't know what
Stone
I don't
Order.
remember what the Stone Order. Thank you. I couldn't find the word order.
Yeah.
So, here we go. But had a great time playing the Stonewise Order druid, less so the investigator.
You had some pretty rotten luck so far.
Yeah.
So
we'll get into that.
We'll get into. Yeah, we'll get into that. But yeah, let's start out with this. Talk about the Cythnigot. One of the most important things. So this is a level 1 creature. One of the most important things right out of the gate is that it is a tiny creature. That tiny size comes into play a little bit later in the stat block. Pretty much across the board, we're looking at uncommon as well. Fiend, Qlippoth, unholy traits. So all these matter for various reasons, especially recall knowledges and stuff. One of the significant things here is it's got a base speed of 30 as opposed to the usual 25 for a lot of creatures, but it's also very miraculously has a fly speed of 40, which
sucks so hard.
Very significant for a level 1 creature. It doesn't have a high AC, it doesn't have a lot of HP, as you can imagine, but its ability to move around is very, very big. Languages are I've noticed so we have Chthonian, which I forget what that's been changed from, but I'm pretty sure it's a new language with the remaster. And then it does have telepathic abilities, but it is touch only. I'm not really sure who
Abyssal.
or what it wants to communicate with. Abyssal, thank you. Chthonian comes from Abyssal. I'm not sure who it wants to telepathically communicate with via touch exactly. Maybe just each other. But it's just a little note on that.
It's host.
It's host. Oh, maybe. Oh God, that's terrifying. Maybe it is communicating with its rat host.
Gotta learn somehow.
It does have damage resistance as well. Really early on, which is mental 3 and physical 3, except for cold iron. It's just not a thing to scoff at.
No.
And it's straight up immune to controlled and fear effects, which is like controlled, you're not really getting a lot of at level 1 to cast on a creature, but fear, like your demoralize is no good. So a bit of a thing there. We talking about its attacking abilities. It's just got a bite attack. One thing that is worth noting, or two things worth noting. It is a 1d10 plus 1. It's not a huge bonus, but 1d10 we found to be very swingy in a low-level fight. I remember being crit for about 3 damage or something, or 4 damage, and I remember taking a regular hit of 11. So it was very swingy, very unpredictable, and it actually did make it pretty terrifying. And that's where that big claw or jaw thing is coming in, that Venus flytrap. It can hit really hard. Very importantly too, and we missed this during our time fighting this creature, and realized just before this recording that this thing has a reach of 0, which I think we messed up, or rather Cam messed up. This is significant because a reach of 0 means the creature has to occupy your space to hit you. And the reason that's significant is because one of the best strategies that a lot of players can use as like a third action is to step away from the enemy at the end of their turn, forcing the enemy to come to them and waste an action doing so. In this case, in a lot of cases, when you do that, you take yourself out of range. So if they don't come towards you, you don't have to step back forward. But in this case, if it's in your space, you step away and make it out of your space, it's still in your range. Well, it still has to waste a turn coming back to you. So it's this inverse idea of having a character that has a breach weapon where you step away, but you still have range to hit. And that is something that I don't know. I don't quite know if it would have changed the tide of our battle, but it would have made a difference for sure.
Wouldn't have hurt.
So it wouldn't have hurt. That's definitely. In addition to dealing the damage, we're also going to take some tangled spores, which is the disease. We'll come to that in a sec. And there is a variant of this creature from a standalone adventure called the VLORIAN Cythnigot, which instead of tangled spores adds something called rust creep, which we'll come to in a little bit. Before we do that, we'll talk about the thing that really kind of messed our day up a bit. The other thing,
the sickening display.
The sickening display. Yeah, because this creature is just like, it waltzes up, he was this weird looking rat, and then it suddenly the big thing bursts out of its back, and it just does this weird thing. It doesn't have to be like, it's a good intro to the creature do that, but it can just sort of repeat this thing anyway. But basically, it's a 10-foot emanation with a will save. If you pass or fail, you're immune for a minute. But if you succeed, even if you succeed, you're off guard until its next turn.
Yeah,
which is brutal.
Which is a fucking crippling addendum.
At
like,
level
off
1?
guard until its next turn.
It's brutal. Absolutely brutal. If you fail, you're sickened 1 and off guard. So there goes your AC by 3. And if you crit fail, it's the same, but you're sickened 2. So there goes your AC by 4.
Yeah. And it's worth noting that sicken lasts, or that off guard lasts as long as you're sickened, because that is also a huge fucking caveat that hit us pretty hard, I believe.
That's right. Yeah. It is absolutely stunningly brutal if you get hit by that. If you don't critically succeed that, you are in super danger, basically. Which to me, and I think both of us, makes this creature a bit overtuned. Between that and fly, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, I would agree that this is a little bit of a hardcore first level creature. Like, maybe if you're fighting 1, but 3. Yeah, 3 was 3 or 4. Was it 4 that we were fighting?
I think we fought 3. I think we fought 3 of them. 3. Yeah, which was meant to be a tough encounter. It was a severe encounter, I believe. But I think 2 of them fucked us up for the most part, and then the third one was just the icing on the cake. So
just showed up for the party afterwards.
Yeah. Now there's a very loose upside, and I'm being very generous with that. And that if you do manage to contract the Tangled Spores disease, which is a fortitude save, it acts a little bit more like a poison. In that it's got a maximum duration of 6 rounds, even though it is technically registered as a disease. And basically, if plant creatures actually take a -2 to these saves, so you're actually playing a Leshy, you're more vulnerable, or a Gorin, I think. The stage 1 is clumsy, stage 2 is clumsy plus off guard, and stage 3 is clumsy 2 plus off guard, plus the DC 5 flat check versus manipulate. Rolled after the action. So yeah, you have to like basically see if you're going to interrupt any manipulate actions, because you're basically being covered in spores and you can't really move. The upside, the very vague upside I'm giving to this is that the clumsy 1 doesn't stack with sickened 1, because they're both status penalties. It's not very, it's thankfully. Not really, yeah, thankfully. I guess it's still crippling as all hell, because if one didn't get you, the other one did instead. That's basically
and Tangled Spores is just attached to the bite attack, so it's just you get hit with the bite, you roll the fortitude save, and if you fail, you are tangled in them spores, which happened first round to my my druid.
Oh yeah, so quick. Absolutely devastating. The successes on the sickening display really screwed us. Tangled Spores was not helping. And Cam didn't even really have these creatures fly around the way that they could. It just didn't really matter. They were kicking our ass anyway. Yeah. We also started the combat in a really inconvenient. Yeah, we rolled terrible, and we started this fight in a very inconvenient setup. Yeah. But we were doing a little bit of loose role playing to get a vibe. So it was a very realistic scenario for us to be in. Now, one additional thing to know, like I said earlier, instead of Tangled Spores, there is a variant of this. It comes from, spoiler alert, there's an adventure, a relatively new adventure that's a sort of, not the beginner box, but it's an intro adventure design called Rusthenge. And there is this VLORIAN Cythnigot. And basically, it's a CR3 creature as opposed to level 1. And so all the stats sort of are reflected accordingly. And then this is the main thing. The rust creep instead of Tangled Spores comes into play instead. And it basically is, if you fail, you develop uncomfortable rust-colored bruises and full body aches. And this, so the Tangled Spores is like round by round. This one's a proper disease. It goes day by day. And it starts with a -1 status penalty to athletics. And then the next day is the same. And then it goes to enfeebled 1 on the third day. And then day 4 is enfeebled 1 plus stupefied 1, plus any armor, clothing, and items you carry with that are level 2 or less become broken as the decay spreads to your gear. And then day 5, you're unconscious. And day 6, you're unconscious. And day 7, you're dead. It's a very long and slow disease that will kill you, which means you have
Yeah,
a
that
very
makes
high
it better.
likelihood of recovering. But it is more brutal, yeah, when you really describe it in full. So I don't think I've come across many diseases that it spreads itself out quite that much. Where you're going athletics checks, enfeebled, stupefied, armor, unconscious. Like that's covering a lot of bases, which is
This
kind of
was
cool.
clearly play tested a lot. There were clearly a lot of revisions. You know, a second day unconscious, a second day with the -1 to athletics. Like
Yeah.
somebody got hit with this and was miserable.
Yeah. Okay. We really need to give them extra save chances, basically.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's exactly what happened. This was
Yeah.
probably a 5-stage disease until they play tested it a half dozen times or whatever.
Yeah. The final thing to cover with the Cythnigot is it does have a little bit of spell casting, namely Detect Magic and Daze. And then from there, we have Phantom Pain, Paranoia, and Read Omens. So kind of a strange array. Not really sure why Daze is there. Phantom Pain seems like an odd one because I know that one to be a non lethal attack. And then Read Omens, I'm not really sure where that comes from either. And Paranoia is, I don't know. It's basically, I guess maybe some of these are designed around sort of the invasion, the secret invasion of a society to bring them down. So like Paranoia, like as it says, you cause the target to see all the creatures as dire threats. The target is stricken by intense paranoia toward all creatures around it and must have a will save. On a success, you see everyone as a potential threat. It becomes unfriendly to all creatures to which it already wasn't already hostile. So you start to. This was, I think this one came up, and it was at some point. I could be wrong. I don't know if it was in this fight or another one, but suddenly you don't see your allies as allies, which means you're not likely to heal them. Basically, if you target the right character for this, it could be a little bit dangerous for the group. Now, this just only goes for one round of success. On a failure, it'll last for a minute. And a critical failure, it's for a minute as well, except the target believes that everyone it sees is a mortal enemy, as opposed to just unfriendly with them.
Wow.
And its reactions are free actions against everyone, or it uses them against everyone. So, it kind of can get a little out of hand, that spell, if you're not careful.
All right. Let me take a stab at this.
Sure.
Okay. Daze and Phantom Pain. Both, I believe Daze is non-lethal.
Yeah.
The reason they would have them is so they can hit a target with them and then infect the target, because they don't want their new host to be dead. They want them to be incapacitated, essentially. Paranoia?
Yep, that's fair.
If you were looking at a rat and it sprouted 2 extra legs and a giant, Venus flytrap from its back and took a snap at you, I'd be pretty trepidatious of literally everything for at least a minute. So
yeah,
that doesn't feel unthematic.
Sure.
And I think Read Omens might just be attached to the Qlippoth type. Like I don't understand why it's there either.
Yeah, that one's a bit odd. It is certainly a kind of one of the better known divine or occult spells. Yeah, it's just really about peeking into the future, which you might be right. It might just be a bit of a planning ahead theme for Qlippoths. I don't know.
Maybe these are the vanguard. Maybe the Qlippoths use this Cythnigot as like an advanced force. They go, they infect, they scout the area, and then they read omens to see whether or not they're ready for a full invasion to remove sin from the humans. So I guess it's possible they're used that way.
In some ways, I get not intellect devour. What were the rats? The illithid rats.
Cranium rats.
Cranium rats. I'm getting cranium rat vibes a little bit from this, where like you're probably right. They are like a strange sort of subversive vanguard where they slowly infest the entire city. By the time you realize they're there and doing what they're doing, sure, the rumors are swirling around, but there's far more of them than you would like to have by the time you've discovered it.
And that theme is kind of reflected in their mechanical stats as well, with a 2 intelligence, a 2 wisdom, and a 6 stealth or +6 stealth.
Yeah.
So like Like there is some subtle precedent for that kind of campaign building. It's also the kind of thing you would just naturally do with a level 1 creature, is, you know, set the scene for a campaign, and having them have the ability to have a little bit of foresight is.
Do you remember when we were talking about the Illithids and the cranium rats, and we were doing that suite, and I became obsessed with the idea of like because the more cranium rats they gathered, the smarter they got, and I wanted the giant rat wave swarm to be the big bad.
Yep, that'll live rent free for forever.
There is a creature in Pathfinder 2nd Edition called the Shuln, which is basically I think it's a huge or gargantuan size naked mole rat.
Cool.
Yeah, very cool. And I just want one of those to be infested, basically, to become the big bad now. This is this absolutely massive Venus flytrap on its back, and it's entirely too big to like fight.
Just the world's ugliest Venusaur.
Yeah, it's been cramped up in the city sewers for so long, and then it finally bursts free and just destroys the city.
You start the campaign with rumors of alligators in the sewers, and end with that thing.
Basically, yeah. So good. But yeah, that's the old Cythnigot. Neat little creature, simple, deadly as shit. I'm not sure what I would change about it exactly. Maybe I would bring down its D10 for the bite. Cam did say to us that the offset usually mechanically for creature builds is that the lower the bonus you're getting from strength, the higher your damage die typically is. So that's like the +1 extra damage is the reason why it's a D10. Still makes super sense. Swingy. And it's very important for GMs out there to remember that this has a reach of 0. That will make a big difference, I think, at the end of the day. Yeah. But yeah, this thing is rough.
Yeah, I would probably drop the AC by 1, so it's just a flat 15, and I would just nix the physical DR, because that physical 3 fucking sucks at first level. Unless the party's over first level where they've had access to cold iron, then kind of whatever, you know, if you're fighting this at third level or second level even, you know, whatever. But first level, if it's a party of 4 first level creatures, just nix the physical DR and probably drop the AC by 1, because this thing can move and it can fucking haul ass, you know. 40 fly is no joke. So making it a touch easier to hit when you can hit it makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah. Especially because when this thing claps back, it claps fucking hard with that tangle spore attached to the bite.
Like our fight, like we effectively TPK'd. And at the very end of the fight, we were joking about running away. And Cam was like, there's just no way. You can't get away from this thing. It will catch you. And I think what happened was maybe it was your character just ended up jumping into the river.
Yeah, Bartov the druid. Yeah, jumped into the river. Yeah.
Made the old aquatic escape instead. Yeah.
Just fade to black.
Shoot and had a laugh. Yeah. So it was it was something else. It was it was a huge learning experience. But yeah, that's the old Cythnigot.
I learned I don't want to play a Qlippoth campaign.
Yeah, it's good. Have lots of backups. Lots of backups with lots of motivations.
Yeah, maybe figure out a way to auto generate it like in Pendragon or Traveler, because you're gonna die.
Yeah. What do you say we move on to the next one?
Yeah, sounds good. Taking it to the Shoggti, which kind of sounds like a 70s funk band.
It does a little bit, doesn't it? I knew it was making me think of something, but I couldn't think of what it was. I guess that was it.
It sounds groovy.
It's the old Shoggti. Oh yeah, just dropped a new album. We call it Mythology and Folklore, which there is no tracks on because we found nothing connected to this creature.
Yeah. So for our audio listeners, the Shoggti is a 4-tentacled cephalopod with claws on the end of each tentacle and a maw on the bottom that looks like a lamprey and a slit down the head, which I believe is also a mouth, surrounded by spikes. This thing just sucks.
And they are suckered tentacles, and they're not really quite claws. They're more pincers. They are like...
Yeah, pincers is a better choice, yeah. They're like a big crab, like the big lobster claw or a crab claw.
Yeah. It's kind of got spikes on the side of its head on each side along the length of the mouth, not unlike one of the guys from the Prodigy, the band. You know, when he's his hair like that.
The dual hawk, the two mohawks.
Yeah, the dual hawk. Yeah.
Yeah. For the most hardcorest of punks.
Yeah.
One mohawk isn't enough.
Twisted fire starter. That was from the 70s, right? Shock
Prodigy? Yeah,
no.
that was from the 70s.
But yeah, you're right. This is it's a cephalopod. It was described as squid-like. It looks more octopus-like to me. So
I don't think squids have suckers. And the shape of the head and the ear canal is definitely more
definitely different. So
octopodian is a word that I think I just coined.
Surely it existed before you. You're not that kind of genius.
That doesn't mean I didn't just coin it.
True.
It existing and it being recorded are two very different things.
Fair enough. Blue-skinned, dexterous pincers, sucker tentacles, bulbous eyes, lamprey-like mouth, as you said, and an extra mouth upon its forehead that stretches from between its eyes to the back of its head, which is a really just terrifying alien structure. To be honest, it's
worth noting it's got rectangular pupils, so it can see in every direction that it wants independently.
Every direction, including through its own head. No, that's not true.
So those are normally prey eyes, right? Like you don't see too many predators with rectangular pupils because they rotate and the aperture is increased. They can let in more light because they want to be constantly visible. But this, as I'm sure you're about to tell us, is definitively a predator.
Oh, was it ever? No, we have a little more ecology, as it were, on these creatures than we had the Cythnigot. These creatures do like to travel to other planes to kidnap and charm victims and bring them back to the outer rifts. This basically makes them, I hate to say it, they're specialized slavers, basically. Their pincers are not well suited for weapons, but they are fond of wands and other magical items, especially those that have mind-affecting spells and properties. A nice little piece of lore that's like really interesting, but is not included in the stat block. Therefore, we were lucky enough to not encounter it because we had a hard enough time as is. Again. This is a new Qlippoth to 2E, so there are no 1E references to this one.
Yeah, I also think this is just tangentially related to the Qlippoths. I get that it has the Qlippoth subtype, but I don't know. Yeah. It doesn't feel like it belongs. It also has the amphibious subtype, but I guess we'll get into that.
Yep. It does feel like some of the stuff that we talked about with the Demon Lords and the Qlippoth Lords, like they had created creatures that are non-Qlippoths. They're like kind of famous for these sorts of things. And then we had a Qlippoth that was famous for like flesh warping as well, and having created other ones. But this does feel like, as opposed to like a natural Qlippoth, it feels like one that's maybe purposely created. But there is nothing in the lore about that per se.
This feels
one
like
surely comes from that realm of like it's a massive deep ocean, obviously.
Right. So or it comes from the realm of, hey Freeman, we need another Qlippoth. Make it water.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So let's talk about.
It looks cool as hell.
It does look. This is one of my favorite artworks I think that we've come across.
Yeah,
it does.
Same. It looks just really the color great. Does it for me too, and like it looks wet. Like whoever the colorist was on this, like did an amazing job of making it look like reflective, gnarly, muscly skin on the top of the tentacles.
Yeah, it's really cool. Let's talk about how it beats you up.
Because it do.
Now, what it doesn't necessarily evoke the artwork is that this is a large creature. It's uncommon, amphibious, fiend, and Qlippoth. Unless my notes are mistaken, lacking the unholy trait.
It is lacking
the unholy trait. Which is quite strange, actually.
That leads credence to your holy shit, English is hard. That leads credence to your opinion that this was a created Qlippoth and not a born Qlippoth.
Yeah, could be the case. Speed of 25 on land, 25 swim. No surprise there. And it's doing the same thing as the Cythnigot with the Chthonian language, and telepathy, but has a 100-foot range on the telepathy. So it can speak into your mind. Again, telepathy, you have to share the language, but there it is. The resistances are still in there with mental and physical, both increased to 5. Again, the physical is accepting cold iron. Because this creature is new to 2e, it was not reintroduced in the remaster, so it technically has lawful 5 as a weakness, but that's basically been removed. The Cythnigot also had lawful stuff and chaotic stuff, I think, attached to it, but they were removed in the remaster. And nothing was replaced them. They just simply were removed. Nothing else changed. So the weakness is gone and their damage was gone. So it kind of balances out. Still immune to controlled and feared, though. And this guy being large, it's got a sweet bite attack and a sweet pincer attack, both at a range of 10 feet. As you can imagine, the pincer has a sweet grab option, which is lovely. And actually has a versatile bludgeoning option as opposed to just doing piercing.
That's pretty cool.
Or slashing, I should say. Yeah. So this thing can do the full spread of piercing, slashing, bludgeoning as it pleases. Of course, with the grab, you have yourselves a sweet constrict, because why wouldn't that pincer grab you and then the arm wrap around you and just give you a quick squeeze? Constrict is always a little bit terrifying, just like rend. Once it gets its hands on you, you're taking automatic damage. Sure, you get the fortitude save, the basic save, but you got to be careful. The other action that it has is called Brain Cloud, which basically caresses a creature with a tentacle and supernaturally erodes their mental faculties, which is terrifying. This does have the attack trait, which is important. And you can take a will save and become stupefied 2 for an unlimited duration. You can't attempt another will save, or you can, once per day when doing your preparations. So cool. Brutal for a caster. Yeah, very brutal. And all it has to do is just caress you and hit. So
this is some really awful implications.
Really is. And then the last action that it has is called Fascinating Display, where it rides around and shifts colors like you might expect from an octopus. And this becomes an unnatural and hypnotic display. Concentrated, emotion, fear, mental, occult, visual, all the things you might expect. 30-foot emanation. Will save, temporarily immune for 1 minute from any Shoggti. So if one does it, you're kind of okay. For the rest of them, if you're fighting multiple. And the success, you're still sickened 1. Failure, you're fascinated for a minute and sickened until the fascination ends, which is brutal. You can't just retch that up. And then critical failure is fascination for a minute, cannot use reactions, and sickened 2 until the fascination ends. So that's pretty brutal. Sickened is not fun.
Yeah.
Especially when it's forced to stay.
I'm going to try and throw in a cuttlefish doing their fascinating display here so you can see what a real world example of this looks like, because they actually do this. But if cool. I do that, seizure warning.
Seizure warning, yeah, for sure. So these, I don't remember if we actually were up against these actions much when we fought this thing.
Not the brain cloud, but I do believe it tried a fascinating display at one point. I think.
We kept our distance.
I was kind of done after the first level or the first round.
It was well, no, and for good reason, which we will get to shortly. Basically we fought this thing in a sewer canal. So we were on the edge of this canal, and it was in the water, and it was swimming down and up and like seeing away. And we were hitting it with like ranged attacks and reach attacks, doing our best to not engage it. We certainly weren't getting in the water, that's for sure. So it did hamper its ability to affect us with, say, like the brain cloud, and it didn't have much of a chance to grab us and constrict us. However, it, of course, also has spellcasting, and it very quickly charmed James, investigator. James, you want to describe how charm works and how it fucked your day up?
Yeah. So this particular version of charm has a crit success, a success, a failure, and a crit failure. And I crit failed even with a hero point. Again, Foundry wasn't. I'm gonna blame Foundry. So crit failure's target's attitude becomes helpful towards you and it cannot use hostile actions. Regular failure, you become friendly, or if you were friendly, you become helpful, can't use hostile actions. Success, you think something was wrong, and you can use it to identify the spell. And a critical success, you were unaware and you're familiar with the fact that this creature tried to charm you. The problem with this particular rank 1 spell is there is no repeat save unless the creatures who cast its allies threatened that creature or used hostile actions against it. Not hostile actions against your allies, not threaten your allies against you. So my investigator crit failed, was charmed first round before they even got a turn, and Cam, being the genius tactician they were, just never went anywhere near the investigator.
Basically, yeah. We fought a single Shoggti. It had no allies to attack the investigator, and that made the investigator simply charmed for the entire combat. You did manage to realize that you were kind of joking, and you started role playing, like trying to mediate between us and the Shoggti, which I remember. But eventually, you were tossing potions down my throat at some point because you could do that. You just could not target this creature. You could not fight it, and it's because one of the things too is that this lasts up to an hour, so the combat was over with. But it casts this at you at 4th level, which means it wasn't technically going to be an hour. It was going to be for the rest of the day that you were going to be
till your next daily preparations. And it is very specific in its wording, so like can't use hostile actions. So I tried things like recall knowledge and devising stratagems, like a skill stratagem to try and recall knowledge again. I just could not roll above a 4 to save my life this whole session. Like I rolled a natural 20 once.
It was crazy.
It was like less than 10 the rest of the time. So
it was crazy bad. Yeah. Now it only has one.
It was like 7 rounds, and I tried to recall knowledge 3 actions every round, and I did not succeed once.
Yeah, for real. It was so bad. It only has this fourth rank casting once. It also has a 4th rank dimension door once it can do. It does have more charms though at rank 1. So if it's
an hour
lucky
feels like long enough.
Yeah, it can still nab multiple creatures with these charms. And technically it could nab one and just re-up it if it's lucky enough every hour, for 3 hours kind of thing. And it has its days.
We need to talk about whether or not Brain Cloud counts as a hostile action, because Brain Cloud is an action, but is a gentle caress perceived as hostile?
But it has an attack action, attack trait.
So it does have the attack trait.
It has the attack trait. So it affects your multiple attack penalty. Therefore, I think it has to be considered.
Right. Okay, cool. I dig that. But I mean, a DC 25 will save when you're already charmed. I mean, I guess charm doesn't affect your will save, but a DC 25 will save is still no joke.
Yeah. So. Now, it's also worth noting too that the Brain Cloud, because this creature hasn't been updated from the remaster, the Brain Cloud attack has the open trait. The open trait was removed in the remaster, but because this creature hasn't been updated, I'm not sure how this ability should be changed. But the open trait means that you can use an open only if you haven't used an action with the attack trait or open trait yet this turn. So it has to be the first thing you do on your turn. I don't know if that would change much, but there it is.
So.
But yeah, that charm made a massive difference, absolutely massive difference in that combat. It made it really, really difficult because we were effectively down someone. They were able to offer a little bit of support via you did some aid attempts for attacks.
Escape specifically. I couldn't do it for attacks because that would have been counted as a hostile action.
Because I definitely was grabbed a few times now that I think about it. And some potions, but we were now down someone that could strike and would take up damage from attacks. So effectively down to a 3-person party with a very basic helper NPC was what happened.
Yeah, pretty much.
It was not ideal.
3 players and a squire who wants everybody to live peacefully.
Yeah. And here we are we're still trying to learn these classes. We've only done one combat before. We've jumped up to level 5 for these classes, and James didn't have much chance to learn the investigator properly at level 1, and then didn't get to use it at all for level 5. So good luck on the next one.
Yeah, next is level 10. So we'll see how that there goes.
It might not be good.
It'll be fine. Just be slow.
Yeah, it'll be fine. But suffice it to say, we could have run away. This one, it was very easy for us to have been like, okay, no, get this kid out of here. However, we did develop a small story concept of like why we were there, and we felt obligated to see it through. And the thing that really clinched this one was, so for what I remember, the first combat with the Cythnigot, we basically, everyone was down, but no one had died, and then someone jumped in the river. And the story beat that we created that was we fucked up, but everyone survived, and then we got scolded by our superior, who was a Hell Knight, I think. And a few however many sessions later behind the scenes, we're now a little bit stronger, and we've been forced down to the sewers to find something. And we were like, really need to reprove ourselves because we really fucked up the first time. So we were trying to see it through, but because we're trying to see it through, investigator's charmed, 2 other characters went down, and then Cam just went, I guess I'll give it a try, and then went for the other charm, and we failed it. So we had 2 down, and 2 were friends with the Shoggti. And then we just called it. So we lost both fights. It's the long story short, we lost
2 TPKs for 2 combats, which is not a good track record for those of you keeping score at home.
But I do remember it spawning at the end of it. We did have a conversation because we're looking at these from a campaign perspective in a way, and just like kind of trying to piece them along a track of some kind with some loose story and beats and stuff. But I think one of the cool things that came out of that was like, oh, when this thing is able to charm something until its next daily preparations, and then if it's able to do that again and do that again, you can see why these are specialized slavers as they're described. And it really came up with a cool kind of thought where that's not necessarily the end of, it's not necessarily TBK, it's not necessarily the end of a campaign, because this creature, or if you're fighting multiples of these creatures, or maybe you fight one and it charms 2 of you like it did us, and then it calls its friends and they come in and charm the rest of you. And then, the GM facilitates, time has passed, you're missing from your superiors. They presume you dead, and then you wake up in a Qlippoth lair, and suddenly snap out of the charm because today you succeed, and now you're in the heart of the beast, and you have to find your way out, your way back, and you now have the opportunity to defeat things that are probably more important and well hidden. You've been taken to a place that is well hidden. So it's a neat little opportunity to create a story beat via this extremely potent.
You also don't know you've been charmed, so maybe you just wake up in the sewer in 2 weeks and the whole city above has been decimated.
Yeah, and you're like, I don't know what happened. What's going on?
It turns out you were the herald of this destruction.
Basically, yeah. So always keep that in mind. That's a good piece of advice for GMs, that when you do manage to pull off tactics like this against your characters or your players, don't go for the TPK. Always go for the next cool story beat. You can absolutely charm the pants off of these players and characters, and then put them in a scenario they don't expect, and they'll be probably very happy with that.
Or not. I mean, if you came to and after getting your ass handed to you by one Shoggti, and you came to and there's 4 of them chanting around you.
Well, the characters aren't happy, but maybe the players are,
Right. Another opportunity to nullify that TPK.
Yeah, exactly.
Right on.
But yeah, that's the Shoggti. It was both were a very interesting experience, especially for me, who doesn't ever get to play as a PC. But it was really, really fun. It was tough, and Cam was more than fair in showcasing the creatures.
I was thinking about it, cool. And you and I have only played Pathfinder together, like both being players, like in that campaign we ran, and then in these, I think.
What campaign did we run?
The one our old friend ran where we were playing first edition Rise of the Rune Lords. I think that's the only two times you and I have both been players in the same game.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Yeah. Otherwise, one of us has always been GMing. Yeah.
yeah. Or we're playing a different system, like the TMNT games run by Gabe or Duality.
Sure.
But for Pathfinder, I think those are the only times, which is kind of wild considering
it is kind of wild. Yeah.
This is a good chunk of our lives.
Yeah, especially now. Can you believe it? Can you believe ET is over 5 years old now?
God, I can't believe we have people who listen to this stupid shit. Like, it's so impossibly humbling, and I just don't get it. Like, I don't think I'm that interesting, but I think there's enough narcissism in me to put this shit out on the internet, demonstrably. But yeah, I mean,
I think I'm very interesting.
Well,
why are you so hard on
guy.
yourself?
Somebody's got to be.
Fair enough.
Anyway, thank you all so much for joining us again for our 133rd, give or take, episode. First one with actual creatures in combat. Hopefully you've liked the switch up to the format so far. This is just a stepping stone. So the next couple of episodes are going to be in kind of the same vein, this editing style, this conversational style. But going forward, we want to make it more of this, more polished, more... Words are failing me, but
we're going to be upping the ante on this format change. This is sort of an experimental stepping stone. We're happy with some of it. There's more we want to add. There's more we want to change. You'll still have that familiar format that we have, but our production side is the big thing that's changing, right? And our presentation of the mechanics is probably the most significant change. And we'll change up a little bit of our ordering of like our lore and our real world mythology as it makes sense, as it fits better. More syncopation when necessary. Yeah, a touch less structured, a little more nuanced. And a little more planned.
And a shit ton of stuff behind the scenes.
Yeah. So just bear with us. This is a change. It's not a huge change just yet, but it's on the way to a bigger change that we're both quite excited about. Actually, it's going to be really refreshing, and I think it's going to make us a better hub of information that we want to be for Pathfinder 2nd Edition and the community, and as a resource.
That said, these episodes are now produced as primarily video content and secondarily audio content. We found we have a bigger audience on the YouTubes, and it is more of a visual show than some of our other stuff. We're still going to do our best to make it, audio forward, but there might be some stuff left out of the audio cut that makes it into the final video cut. But we'll play around with that, and we absolutely need your feedbacks to help us find those middle grounds, what's valuable, what's not in those formats. So if you want to do that, you can go to unchartednorth.com/Discord. That'll shoot you right into our Discord, give you direct access to all of us. You can fire us off an email at info@unchartednorth.ca. That gets touched by Scott or Freeman. It'll get forwarded to us. If you like the show and you want to help us make these, because we could not do this without the support of our Patreons. Like, this is just a side hustle for us that we're not... It pays for itself, realistically. Like, this is our time we're investing. We're not being paid for any of that. And it's thanks to those good folks over on Patreon who are able to do things like keep the lights on so we don't have to constantly sink more funds into this. So $5 a month will get you a handwritten thank you note. We'll get you some themed goodies. $10 a month. We'll get you a discount code to our merch store. $25 a month. You can help work with Freeman to create an NPC or an item for Stemming the Tide, I think.
Something along those lines, yep.
Yeah. Today, currently when this drops for $10 a month, you can still suggest a creature for this show, which would mean a larger suite like this. So we're looking for traits or subtypes specifically that you'd be interested in covering. If you want to find some cool merch, you can do that over at unchartednorth.com/shop. All of our socials are in the description if you want to check us out any there. I think we're on all of them except for maybe Mastodon and Threads, but I don't know. That's the Scott's purview, and he's doing a fucking killer job at it. So big thanks to Freeman for presenting this episode. Huge shout out to Cam, all up inside of us, Terry, which is as horrifying as a name as these creatures are. If you want to see the video version, you go to youtube.com/@EncounterPod. If you want an audio version, it's available wherever you can get podcasts. Rate and review on audio. YouTube, hit the like button, the subscribe button to be notified when we release new episodes. If YouTube's feeling crazy that day, because the bell doesn't really work that well, but it does help us. That subscribe button's real big. So thank you for those of you who have done that. It's really helped us out. We've seen even an uplift in our subscribers since we started releasing this Qlippoths suite, which is great.
Yep.
So thank you. Tell a friend, and we'll be back on Thursday with the next 2 in the Qlippoth series, whose names I don't think I'm confident enough to try and pronounce right now.
It's fine. Yeah, I was about to say they're just equally as unpronounceable as the rest. So we'll burn that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, and burn it we shall.
Thank you, friends. We'll see you soon. Until next time, creatures. Thanks, as always, for listening to Encounter This.